One of my friends asked me to be a driver when he had to do the colonoscopy. Man, that day was a pain in the ass for me. I've had too much cashmere chai, and I actually brought some change because I want to go see the animals at Powers so Greg can introduce the show.
Hi. Welcome to the Carnival of Randomness. Today we have the Masked Grappler, a.k.a. John Erik Payton.
Hey, he is not the Masked Grappler. What are you, the manager?
I'm the unmasked manager grappler.
Sorry.
Grappler manager.
I
am the one who can actually communicate concisely with other humans.
Where is he now in the world?
He sleeps all Sunday usually, unless there's a show. He sleeps all day Sunday, every week, unless there's a show.
That's a hard week of ass kicking, so he's got to rest.
Is there another scaffold death match over a pool of piranhas coming up, like in Singapore or like Malaysia?
Sri Lanka. There's ones booked in Sri Lanka.
Can we get this online? Like look up Masked Grappler.
You know what? I could stream it live on Facebook maybe. And you can all see him get shredded.
Oh, so you know what happened
about taking the fairy princess over there?
Funny why we say this, because you know what happened. Maybe some of you, it happened to you yesterday.
Proctology?
I get flagged. This is going really... But I get flagged yesterday on Facebook for a post from 2021. Now, if either of you don't know or didn't see it, you could try to take a guess after I describe it. So I got flagged because my post was pornographic and promoting negative body image. Can you guess what it was?
A picture of you.
Oh, get the off the show.
Wait a minute, hold on. Okay, well, we went from proctology before the show, and now this is...
Well, you know what it
was?
We got
this.
Sarah,
I'm
I had to throw that line in there because you made me laugh. You set me up there like that, but... I'm drawing a blank. I can't think of it.
It happened to a lot of people. It actually happened to Greg Prevost 20 times. I put up a song Sway from Sticky Fingers with the picture of the album.
Oh, really?
And that was flagged as pornographic and promoting that. So what I was going to do is I'm going to put the Velvet Underground picture up. But I put like Christian music, Jesus Loves You album up yesterday. But it happened. Greg Prevost got flagged 20 times because he put up. And it's just... Obviously, the pants.
Yeah.
And the song Sway.
Yeah. What about, remember the original album cover of Meaty, Beady, Big and Bouncy by The Who? I think it was, I think that was pulled off the shelves almost immediately and replaced with Roger Daltrey in the can of, in the big vat of SpaghettiOs, or no, it was beans or something.
No, that was the
Who Sell Out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Meaty Beady was the one where they were standing like in a doorway or something.
And that's the thing, like.
And the original, I think the original album cover was banned, and they had to change it. I could be wrong.
What was it?
Oh, some salacious.
And there's one you could find. There's actually a European version of Sticky Fingers, like you can find in France and Europe. It's nothing, outlandish. It's just different. I actually put it up on Facebook.
Was that an Andy Warhol? I thought it was.
Wasn't it? I know Velvet Underground was. But how did you? Do you have any things
with the working zipper?
Yeah.
That's an interesting concept. Weird album packaging, because remember the Alice Cooper album with the panties?
Yeah.
Had the pink panties in it.
Man, the cost of something like that, mass produced.
I know.
Well, the big one, too, when we were kids, it doesn't matter if you liked the group or not. You had to go to Gold Circle. You could find them for $2.99 after a while. That ELO album, the double album, that had the little build a spaceship in it.
Oh, wow.
Like a cardboard
It was a little cardboard spaceship. Yeah. But I've heard, Live at Lee's, the original, you got, a piece of fake cake, a ticket.
Oh, wow.
The original pressing of... one of Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke record, I think, had a humongous rolling paper in it, to roll in these massive joints.
I have big bamboo.
I have some cool posters from old albums that came with the album.
There were a lot of them like that. Even when Kiss did their solo albums, they had interlocking posters.
I bought back when I was in Ireland with the Bishop Carney band. Right, Andy? Remember Bishop Carney band in Ireland? All right.
Does anybody remember Laughter?
But I went to a record store there and picked up a couple albums just for souvenirs. I mean, I was stupid. I didn't know what I was getting. I got a mono version of Sgt. Pepper which I don't
caught
have
mono
anymore.
from Sgt. Pepper. That's pretty.
On Parlophone, the real deal from 1960, whatever that was. And then anyway, inside that album was like those cardboard things. They had the Pepper guys and the policemen, or they had the cardboard little cutout things.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
You actually had that?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I know, because I got the white of them when I was in Toronto, and I actually somehow, when I was like a high school kid, I had the logic about it where American money was worth more in Toronto, so I got the white of them there. But it had the poster in it, so I don't know if later ones had the poster in it, the four Beatles on there.
Yep. I know I had the poster, but maybe the later ones didn't. I don't know.
And I've heard like earlier, like John Payton stuff. There's like an album that would have Masked Grappler mask, like every 50th one.
yeah. They were edible vinyl masks that when you sweat, they dissolved right into your skin, and then the delicious syrup would run right into your mouth.
And then you go out and beat up somebody.
Yeah, with a big pink head or something.
You know what I just found out? Now, maybe both of you know this. You're both into all this stuff, too. I didn't realize there was nearly a John Carpenter remake of The Creature from the Black Lagoon in the 90s.
No. Really? I didn't
It was close. This is the funny part. I guess it didn't get funded because they put their money into Jaws 3D and lost so much money on Jaws 3D.
Oh, wow. You know what? I'm surprised those haven't been rebooted. The way, as much as Hollywood is rebooting everything, I'm so surprised
that the Creature has it.
Right.
But
I watched the original the other week.
Oh, I have the set.
Yeah.
Young Clint Eastwood in The Return of the
King. Yeah, right.
And he's a tarantula too. He's the dude who bombs a spider.
Yeah, he wasn't. He might have not even been credited in that role, maybe. But that was Universal Horror. Don't get me started. I love it.
That's what. Hey, talk away. That's what we're here for.
I think we had a massive Universal Horror show last year with the three of us.
Yeah. But the Creature, like, I would almost put him as my favorite. He's like never been remade. I've heard and almost like The Weight of Water is almost like Shape of Water. It's almost like a remake in a weird way.
Frankenstein's my absolute favorite.
What about that Lady in the Lake was it? I don't know. Never mind. Go ahead.
I remember like the woman in whatever that M. Night Shyamalan one. That was like a video game, weird, like almost like a live action, like D&D or something, with the characters and stuff.
But I share your love of Frankenstein.
Oh man, it was that original one is so horrifying to I can only imagine audiences in 1931 sitting there, and that when I was a little kid and I saw the first reveal of the monster, because they aren't campy at all in that first one. It's like they're dealing with creating life from dead body parts, and it's horrific, you know. And then this monster, you hear him stomping up the stairs, and he comes in that doorway backwards and turn.
Yeah, and look on the face.
And it got campier as it was as they went along. But Bride, I loved, even Son. And then they got really...
And I guess, like, Karloff, and he must not have read the book because the monster educates himself.
Yeah.
He wanted the monster to be silent, so that's why Son of Frankenstein, they made him quiet again, because for Karloff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But he was wrong on Bride of Frankenstein. That was a very successful movie. I just watched a big commentary on it. Or listened to it.
The Ghost of Frankenstein, that's the one where Bela Lugosi plays the monster.
Yeah.
He's hideous in it.
But the funniest one, like Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, 3 people played the monster because what happened was Bela was having all these health problems, so they had Lon Chaney did double duty and Glenn Strange. And so I guess Lugosi's 8 minutes.
And you could say 4 because the fight scene at the end was 2 stuntmen.
And I guess like David Scala, as I've talked about him before, has written some really great books on
Glenn Strange was he was in a bunch of westerns.
Yes, he was.
He was the bartender in Gunsmoke.
Yep, and he was like 6'4". Yeah. And, Bela Lugosi, this short little monster.
I know. The dwarf.
It's like Plan 9. It's like he could come in all of us. Like all you guys could be Bela in Plan 9 now. You looked just like him.
And his mouth was all weird looking. I was like,
I know it was.
But like I guess they cut so much out of Frankenstein meets the Wolfman because there's if you can watch him, he's mouthing "I'm blind" because of the movie when they put Igor.
Yeah, they just did away with that storyline for Wolfman.
But I was thinking it was just Thanksgiving, and I was going to call this our Thanksgiving Day hangover.
Yeah, that's a good one. Me and Greg are hungover.
Did you have any like good traditional stuff when you were growing up, like for Thanksgiving?
I did, certainly.
My
mom was huge on my family and everything, and I have a big family, so 5 kids and mom and dad, and we did it up every year. I was very, very fortunate to have an amazing family and feast, and I count my blessings every time. And now my wife is an amazing cook and makes a great meal, and it's so and for like this year I didn't have a. Did you have a night before Thanksgiving gig this year, Greg?
No.
So I didn't have that, so I was able to come home from work and relax, and then I had a Black Friday gig and a gig last night. It was
same.
Yeah, and I remember, I didn't know until I started working at bars and being involved in the scene how nuts the night before Thanksgiving is.
Yeah.
I was at Buncy's, that was packed. I went to hear a friend of mine playing.
On the night before Thanksgiving? No, I wasn't. But that, of course, roasting the turkey and all that stuff, I love it. But I think my favorite thing is at 11:30 p.m. turkey sandwich on Thanksgiving night.
Oh yeah.
And then a piece of pie or something. I think that's my. I was doing that. I was the only one awake in my house at midnight on Thanksgiving night, and I'm in the kitchen making my
club
food.
Sandwiches,
yeah.
The club sandwiches galore.
Oh man!
But we'd start prep the night before too, because I would make pumpkin rolls or pumpkin. You'd have to get the oven free for the turkey the next day.
Oh, yes, right.
And there's always a great smell. Like in the morning, my mom would start really early, and she would wrap the turkey in bacon. And you would smell that oven smell like when you were waking up in the morning.
Right.
Get down. Bacon wrapped.
Yeah, I mean,
turkey.
I think we just did traditional. The basics. But then, later on, I think because, got the Italian family, and by the time you get to the turkey, you're done. What is
it, John?
Pasta,
salad. Have you ever heard the John Panetta thing, the joke about you go over to an Italian's house, you get the big bottle of pasta, but then they go, now you're going to eat.
Yeah, right.
Like my friend Rob DeCesar, we would always, everybody knew who we grew up with, go, whenever we went over to your house, your mom, we gained 20 pounds before we went out with you. Sit down for a small snack.
Yeah, right. Well, we're gonna have something to hold you over till dinner. It's like a lasagna.
We had a weird tradition. For some reason, the football games would be on, but we always went bowling then on Thanksgiving in the afternoon at Terrace Gardens.
Oh yeah.
When I was younger, we would
used to bowl a lot.
Yeah, when
I haven't bowled in decades now.
Yeah, I haven't bowled. I'm pretty good at Wii bowling. Got a 280 on there the other day.
During the C word in 2020, I got a Golden Age Atari, and I did the bowling all the time.
Oh, cool.
And you line it up, and then I knew I was old because I got a stiff neck playing Atari. And you're like, no.
And arthritic thumbs.
And they have the different things where you could do the good curves or just do it straight.
Yeah.
But some of the, I remember now, with my parents gone and stuff, I remember more I laugh more at the comical stuff. Like the one year my dad forgot to cut we always had chestnuts. I don't have them anymore because I see how much they cost. But you get the ones that are spoiled and they look like they have beards and you never want to head. But my dad forgot to cut them. And they blew up all over the oven.
Oh, jeez. I didn't know you.
I've never even roasted
chestnuts. Have become an expensive item.
They're brutal now. Next time you just happen to be at the store, take a look how much they cost per pound. The person at the public market always had the best ones too.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Every nut, because I do. I have the bleeding heart. I feed the birds. So seed's expensive.
I always thought they only roasted by an open fire in the song. I didn't even think they were a real thing.
But the ultimate was the one year. Okay, back at my parents' house, it was there's a room here when you went in. There were 3 steps. You went up to the kitchen. There's another room, right? So there's a hangers here. So I used to just throw my coat on the hangers. I missed. And it went on the stairs. Mm-hmm. So it's Thanksgiving. My dad's got the turkey. He walks the stairs, falls down the stairs.
Oh my God!
Now and it goes flying, and he's all "Whoa!" And my mom is dying laughing. And then my dog comes over.
Oh jeez,
and my mom would talk about it for years.
It's like a scene from the Christmas Story with the dog.
And my mom would talk about it for years after. But remember when he fell with the turkey?
Oh man,
how like,
tragic!
And he's like, "Who put that on?" Like,
how horrifying!
Did you guys ever play like your turkey bowl in the morning, get together with your friends, and have like the?
When I was younger, we saw because we had such a big family and then friends in the neighborhood. We'd always have some kind of pickup game of football in the leaves or something. Well, now, I'm retired from that activity.
Now, if I did that, we'd see us walking with crutches.
I've jumped in a lot of leaves.
Yeah.
Now we'd be walking with crutches now and, like, stumbling over. And
I want to mention one of my favorite Thanksgiving traditions is I always watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I love that movie. But also these WKRP turkey drop episode. I have
what was
to watch
the line?
That.
They were like wet concrete.
No, there's like they're hitting the pavement like sacks of wet concrete.
I actually finally
it's a dark object.
For years, obviously.
We used to go to the movies a lot. Actually.
For years
on Thanksgiving.
They couldn't release it because of all the rights with the music and everything.
Wow.
Oh,
but I found the complete set for around $40. I guess I asked Mike Murray because I think that's his favorite show.
Oh, yeah.
He said everything but like 2 or 3 songs is intact in there.
Oh, wow.
Wow, and that's because they had all the bumpers. If you watch it in reruns, or is some kind of generic rock sounding music. But in the day, they were playing all the real music from the radio.
I didn't know that. I never really thought
the rights. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why.
Mm-hmm. So he'd come out a bumper saying, that was Fleetwood Mac, blah, 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 whatever. And I don't know how they got around it. They had to cut around a lot of that stuff because they didn't have the rights for it. And then the episodes are full. Every episode is full of, like, rights violations of those songs.
Oh, and we've gotten, like, just, flagged just for stuff I get permission to play, so I can see how... But you remember one with the WKRP carp when he's, like, drunk in the bathroom?
Yeah, he's fighting the...
What was the other
one? It was the carp fighting the pig, the WPIG. in the toilet.
And there was remember they're trying to do the one thing where they're drinking or like sleep deprivation. And
yes.
Then, but Johnny Fever, he's like out, but then when it's time to play the song, bam!
No, he's drinking drink for drink with the sheriff, and the sheriff, no, I forget what it was, but his motor skills get faster the drunker he gets. So he's like slurring and blah blah blah.
True musician.
And then he rings the bell and like dang, he hits the so it was like pissing this guy off because he's trying to show how alcohol reduces your motor skills, and the more Johnny drank, the quicker he got.
Remember that Honeymooners episode where we're going to do some drinking like men, and they get bombed on grape juice? Yeah. And then next morning, like Norton's all hung over, and Jackie Gleason, Wells like, oh, it's okay, it cleared me up, I found something in the fridge. Yeah. What? Fresh grape juice.
Yeah, you're hitting all my zones here, man. It's Honeymooners.
Oh, actually, you know what I got? Talk about finds. I finally found the Lost episodes cheap. For a while, it was like way too expensive. I finally found it really reduced. The 107 episodes. Yep. They go from like 1951. They might be 8 minutes long. And they go
I have them all. I was able to get the box of DVDs of those when they were still not very expensive.
Now they're not. What you have to do is sometimes just play the waiting game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I got them all on like eBay over the years. And I have them all, and this archaic medium called DVDs. I still a
DVD guy. I actually do have, because I said, okay, I better just get up to it just in case. I have a Regent free player for the imports, because you could find some series, and it's well worth getting, because it's like you're gonna pay like $20. And you can get series, like I got, like if you try to get Kojak here, it'll be a lot. You can find the British versions for like $30. And you get a Region 3, and I also have a Blu-ray just because I figure, eventually, if I live that long, they won't have but I still have a DVD, man.
I am too.
I like them a lot because, the streaming is great, and I'm like, wow, I've got a lot of these movies I have are streaming, but then you either got to deal with the commercial breaks, or you just got to, I don't know. It's just something about having it's like an album cover, like looking at it.
It's like having our generation especially. We just love having a hard library to reference our own. We have our own library. Yeah, if I lose internet, I have a ton of stuff to watch.
Right.
Because my DVDs and my movies, and I'm never in the dark.
Yeah,
people
I know.
would say to me, it's like, why do you have all this? I go, do you even watch it? I go, it's there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm in the mood for something. There it is. I go get it and I put it in. Instant gratification.
The thing about
I
streaming.
should let you borrow. I found it at Ollie's. It's this box thing of all these super old, like Fleischer Rudolphs and old Christmas cartoons.
I have a Felix the Cat one that I have to watch. It's got like, I don't know, 8 or 10.
I'm not really big on like streaming and stuff yet. I just not.
Well, I do it a lot but the thing about hard media versus streaming is you could be watching it, going through seasons of something, and then one day it's not there anymore.
Right.
Because they've lost the contract to it and it's gone to another streaming service. Well, I'm never going to go to my library and it's all of a sudden gone.
Right.
It's always going to be there. And that really frustrates me.
And I actually got this one you'll really appreciate. I got Jim Cornette's book about Memphis wrestling.
Oh, wild.
The bonus is he makes you a DVD of all these 70s matches from the territories. So I've got like a cage with Jerry Jarrett, like all these.
Wild. And you order it from his store?
Just go from his store.
Oh, wow.
He signs it for free.
Yeah, I listen to his podcast, and I've never ordered anything, but love that guy.
Well, I'd love to get him on here. That was when I told them, when I said and talking about like wrestling. Now we can talk about wrestling. I know Greg doesn't know what we're talking about on this one, but we're talking. You educate yourself. Educate yourself. You know, my dad was always a Blassie man, but like for me, I always said about Jim Cornette. If I met him, I go, you know what? When I was a kid, I wanted to kill you. I hated you.
Oh, no, that means he was amazing.
I hated him more than any other manager because, like, Captain Lou Albano, he was drunk, he was nuts, he was fun. My dad was a Blassie man. He loved the man among men. For me, when I was watching Georgia with Corn, I just hated this spoiled little rich prick.
He tapped into that spoiled rich mama's boy thing, the thing that Bobby Heenan didn't have. But he like Jim holds up Bobby Heenan as the best manager ever, and Bobby Heenan was absolutely incredible. Probably the best worker than any of his guys he ever had in his stable when he was actually worker. The bumps he would take as a wrestler. Cornette also took a lot of freaking crazy bumps.
Remember the one with the scaffold? He broke his legs.
Oh, yeah, man.
Up the
scaffold. Great American Bash 87, the Night of the Skywalkers.
They hated that, though, because you ever hear behind the scenes, they're like,
no, man.
They're like, man, we have to do it for 6 months on the road.
The thing is,
you had to go up on a scaffold and fight.
Those two teams were the best workers who could give you the amazing match. Their chemistry was amazing, but they kept putting them up on a scaffold where you can't do anything but just fall off it. And it was like these guys, there's no. It was a waste of them, is in my opinion. They're like, okay, Midnight Express versus Road Warriors on the scaffold. Who do you think's going to fall off the scaffold? Those 300-pound muscle heads aren't going to go off the scaffold. So like.
Would have been good if they broke the scaffold.
Right. It's like they really abused those scaffolds.
But he was like perfect.
The theatrics took precedence.
And they would do stuff like he was such a prick. Like he's like, well, 10,000 fine. 10,000 is just to call the mama.
Yeah.
They got a wrestler. They had like a slapjack, and they whacked his partner over there. They tar and feathered him.
Oh my God!
Magnum TA, you could see it still online.
I watched that. I went through all of Mid-South's library that's on the.
You know what you have to watch? It's on that 133 Vice. Tales from the Territories.
Oh, that's great.
And one with Jimmy Hart's I just watched the Dallas one, and he goes, okay, he's carrying me out. I feel something, I got stabbed in the butt. Somebody hit him in the ass with a blow dart.
Oh.
He had to go get a tetanus shot. But I met Jimmy Hart, the best compliment I've ever heard from anybody. You could do this, say whatever you want. Say, I look like Taylor Swift because we share a birthday. It won't be the same. It's and I've heard this a lot. I've gotten stopped for selfies as her, and I just take them at this point. I want to make somebody's day.
Yeah, you're so hot.
And don't we know it? But the thing is, Jimmy Hart, I met him. He was at a sports car show here, and I'm talking about the Gentrys.
Oh.
Stuff. And he gave me a card. I'll show you the card next time I see you. He gave me a card for his restaurant, but I don't have it on me. But he said that, I wanted to. If I had you in the Territories, I would have paired you up and made you one of my tag teams.
Yeah.
And I was like,
you would have been an amazing.
I would have been great on the mic.
Oh, you would have been a great manager too.
I would have loved to use the foreign object though. That would have been the best.
Oh yeah. You and the Grappler on tour. You managed the forget about it.
I distract the rep.
I'm going to go home and watch the Ren and Stimpy wrestling.
Oh, that's so great. The super atomic
dog.
The super atomic butt pliers.
Yeah.
And you got to remember what I love about it still. I look at I say it's like it's jazz in a magic show. You got to suspend your disbelief.
Oh yeah.
But when you were those things, you really like you would if you watch some old things like the face is getting mauled. People are trying there was one thing where they lock they beat the crap out of him, lock the cage. Fans are trying to climb the cage.
I went to one thing at the War Memorial back in the day. Martinez, some guy named Martinez was wrestling.
Pedro Morales, maybe.
Maybe. But, people were, throwing chains in the thing. Here, hit him with this. And, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, man, these people are
I remember Pedro Morales sticks to me because I remember seeing him wrestle Ken Patera. There was a guy by me, and he's like, he had the phrase with Pedro, short fuse. You don't like to break the rules, but I got a short fuse. But it was just because it was that, and I mean, these heels were scary. See George the Animal Steel, you might laugh at it now. Mm-hmm. George was scary.
He was scary, but I took it to a whole nother level of scary. Is the Detroit Sheik, the original Sheik.
Yeah, with the flames.
Well, I mean, all he did was stab people and throw fireballs. I mean, and then everybody was legitimately. He never left character.
I guess Cornette
ever.
said what he would do was if he was at a hotel or something, he'd chase kids around the lobby and stuff.
Yeah, he'd pull forks out and chase. Wow. And he never left character. Went outside of his character. Ed Farrat. As a matter of fact. If you were a promoter and you called his house and asked for Ed, he wouldn't answer it. You better ask for the Sheik. And people were terrified of him. Wow. And you see you watch the Japanese matches where they go towards the crowd and the crowd scatters like insects running away. It's
the way he would do it too, because he would come out and he'd be going like this and this around. People would be getting out of the way.
Yeah, did you ever see this? Where my neighbor had it, and I borrowed it for a while, and I never watched it. And I gave it back to her, but I can get it again. But it's this weird, I think, Japanese wrestling movie with a squid. The squid guy wrestling, if you look it up.
I gotta look this up.
I haven't seen this.
Right.
Yeah, it's messed up. I mean, it looks messed up.
Well, you know what I got? One of my things now, I've been talking about our DVDs or CDs. What happened to me is, dealing with my dad, then COVID shutting down, then my death when I was stuck in my house for 2 months. I like the description of Henry Rollins when he visited Lemmy. You go in the house, there's piles of books, DVDs, memorabilia. He's like, stay on the path. That's my house right now. It's all stacks of books and everything. And I was getting all that kind of stuff. But I got the first set of the El Santo and Blue Demon movies.
Oh, wow.
You can get them online. They're putting them out. They come in 4-packs.
Mm-hmm. Are they subtitled or something?
Yeah, taking on the monsters and everything, taking on Dr. Frankenstein.
The Calamari
What the hell
Wrestler.
is that?
That's the movie that I gotta watch.
The Calamari Wrestler.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I could show everybody this picture right now.
Can we set up a match maybe with the grappler against the squid?
He's got a lot of arms. I mean, the grappler only has 2. I gotta show a picture of that to the grappler.
Wait, I guess.
Oh,
funny pic about a brooding wrestler reincarnated as a giant squid is a kind of Waiting for Godzilla aimed at the Midnight Circuit.
Oh man!
I have to locate a copy of this.
Goofy, bizarre, yet surprisingly coherent, the Calamari Wrestler veils sharp social commentary with irreverent humor and corny romance. The New York Times. And we all know they don't lie. But yeah, check that out. I gotta reborrow that if I can.
The Masked Grappler versus the Calamari Wrestler at WrestleMania next year. That could be something.
One of the funniest ones I've ever seen. I found one called Robot Vampire. Which is it's one of these goofy Japanese where you get this they're jumping on springs going around. Yeah. There's all these guys bouncing around and he's fighting them.
Oh, speaking of silly movies, do you ever watch Offbeat Cinema?
Oh, I got home last night late. They had Frankenstein meets the Space.
Exactly what I'm talking about. I got home from my gig.
I got home and I go, we're blessed.
I get home from my gig and I'm going through Thanksgiving leftovers. I got the little TV in the kitchen on and I'm going through the channels because I just have the aerial in the kitchen. And of course, now with that aerial, if you got a good signal, you get 23 or 30 channels like basic cable back in the day. But so I get to that and I go, what is this? And I hit info. It's like, oh, Frankenstein meets the Space
What's it called? What?
It's on I get it on channel 18. I don't know.
I get it on 46.1.
It's actually a movie show. Like we should break out. It's from Buffalo. They do it from Buffalo. Because when I get a kick out of like when I work out in Buffalo, like I do a bank on Hurdle. So every time we go by Terrapin Station and all that, I'm like, oh, it's Offbeat Cinema.
And it's just an old school throwback movie, like, you know, bunch of not really hippies. What do they portray themselves as?
Like beatniks,
yes. and
it's like a coffee house.
It's, you know, it's a Svengoolie type without the horror. Right. It's horror guy. It's beatniks.
You know, they got the dude with the beret. They got like the cool chick with the sunglasses.
And always play kooky, cool, weird, offbeat movies.
Yeah, they actually look more for. They don't go like you're straight. Like I know they show like Night of the Living Dead for Halloween, like it's public domain.
Certainly.
But and you got to see that it's great. But they find some really like they have one the whatever something that turned out to be zombies and. The Misfits and suddenly become zombies and love life or whatever one.
Yeah, man. Anyway, yes, I mentioned when I was in my house last night and I go Offbeat Cinema. I have to mention this to Rob. This has to be something he tracks with because it's so up your alley. Just the whole vibe of it and the movies they play. And I go. Oh, there's no way Rob has not seen Frankenstein Meets the Space Monster.
And what were they trying to... Because I came in, like, about the last hour. Frankenstein was a robot. And I remember, like, there's the woman... There's, like, the bald guy with, like, the ears. They're trying to do something with women. Like, what are they making, like, duplicates?
Unfortunately, I didn't track with the whole movie because I was asleep by the end of it. So I don't know what you're talking about because I never really actually seen it.
No, I went to bed at like about 1:30 because I knew I had a show and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta find this one. I've gotta just find this one. It's great. It's hysterical. But there's like a couple. But I like they had a Mexican vampire movie on one night on there.
I think I've seen that.
Vampires riding horses.
Yeah. So great.
No, and it's like I think we get to the point too where, like, you know, we've seen so much stuff. We want weird. We want stuff we haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Like Robot Monster.
Or Calamari Wrestler.
Robot Monsters.
Oh my God.
The monster with the
diving helmet.
The gorilla with the diving helmet on.
Oh, that. Yes. That's so fun.
That movie is so like
There's
out
one
there.
line. There's one line you sit there and go, I can't believe he says it. He's threatening like there's like it's like I guess like it's after an apocalypse. He's like there's like 6 surviving humans.
Right.
And he's got this one machine that looks like Lawrence Welk.
The bubbles
are coming out of it. But he's threatening them. So I don't know what the heck this one line where it came from. He's like threatening them. I'm gonna like this, and he goes, now I must go relieve myself.
I definitely saw Robot Monster
God.
on Offbeat Cinema one week, definitely, because that's like, what's this gorilla with a fishbowl on his head running around?
you know what's a cool movie? I found this. I don't even remember where it's on VHS, but it's called 8 Man, and it's Japanese 8 Man, and what it is, it's basically RoboCop. So. This was a movie about this detective guy, and he gets shot or near death or something, and they bring him back. Not quite a machine, but he's just enhanced or something, kind of like $6 Million Man meets RoboCop. But it's actually quite good. And I was watching it, and there used to be a cartoon called 8th Man. Remember, they were on Channel 10. They were a Japanese, kind of like Speed Racer-ish.
Mm-hmm.
It was very cool stuff. But it was like, anyway, it's an interesting movie. It's just like a precursor to RoboCop. I mean, there are no original ideas, it seems like, you know.
No, but you could put them like Calamari Wrestler. Isn't that like, imagine like having like to think of stuff like that. It's like you imagine thinking, okay, we're going to have a story about a wrestler who's going to be a squid.
I know. It's like, you know, who knows, man. Imagination gets greenlit many times.
Man, man becomes squid, meets girl squid, make baby squids,
Squidlets.
opens a squid law firm, lives happily.
I'm surprised they don't
after.
have one about a octopus or calamari drummer, because you imagine a drummer with 8 arms.
My goodness, can you imagine that? I always.
I can. He's in that Dave Matthews movie.
His name was Neil Peart.
I'd like to try that. I guess I have hard enough time controlling my 4 limbs. Man, if I had 8.
That's still, I always say, the best drum solo I ever saw in concert ever. The last time I saw Rush on their Time Warp tour.
I'll bet. Yeah.
And it was actually at the State Fair in Syracuse. And they did, what they did was they did the first set, they do Spirit, they do about 11 songs. Then they do a break. Then they did Moving Pictures in its entirety.
Which I love. I love that album.
And what they did, and it was you ever get those shows where, they only toured, maybe 5 more years before they called it quits. Mm-hmm. But you see a show and you go, okay, I'm not going to go see them again because they're not going to top the show. But Neil did this drum solo that was just...
His last ones were at the, I don't know, his last ones. His last 20 years, he was combining it with sequencers and on his electronic kit, doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
And didn't he I guess what he did, he wanted to learn how to play differently, so he would do he tried a whole new style.
Well, he went
Buddy Rich, because he did some Buddy Rich stuff during that.
Well, he switched to traditional grip from match grip. He had been playing forever, and he studied hard with Freddie Hubbard, or he went into he deconstructed his playing completely and decided he was going to relearn basically everything with traditional grip. And if you notice, the last 10 years of his touring, he was nothing but traditional grip, which I switch back and forth. Do you switch back and forth?
Only if I play jazz.
Exactly. When I play traditional grip, I feel jazzier, so when I play some jazz, I switch to traditional grip, or if I want to do some subtle bounces. But, I never play exclusively, unless I'm playing rudimental stuff on a snare drum exclusively, then I'll play traditional grip all the time. But
it's good to mess with it once in a while, just to relearn that muscle.
Right, and you realize, how little power you have.
Yeah, I know.
I actually, after he passed, I actually found all of his books really cheap, and it's he comes alive to me again. But just reading his travel books, because when he was with Rush, he would travel by motorcycle.
Yeah, he never. Yeah. Or if the towns were within a couple hundred miles, he would bicycle it sometimes.
But the one thing I always say, my super claim to fame was one 4th of July. I went to go see Rush at Darien Lake on 4th of July. Day before I ran into Geddy Lee biking on the canal.
Oh, yeah, you told me that.
We had the momentous meeting of the greats. Mm-hmm. And you know how it went. It was I got backstage passes, met him. No, he's hi. Yeah. But I always say this sums up 1970s rock and roll. One of my friends saw Rush at the War Memorial probably, and it was maybe Permanent Waves. It was before Moving Pictures. It was Permanent Waves. One of those. Okay, to me, this sums up what would be his 1970s rock concert. They played 5 songs, 2.5 hours.
Yeah, right.
Now, doesn't that seem 70s rock? I'll be listening to a 70s live album, and I'll not be paying attention. And I'll go, well, what song is this? Half hour?
It's side
it's
one.
The same song.
Right. All right, for a short number, La Villa Strangiato. Because that's only 10 minutes or something.
And they would do, I remember, song, Jimmy, they take Dazed and Confused over half hour.
Wow.
They would play Zeppelin played 4-hour shows.
Yeah.
But there's I've told the story because I think it's really great.
You got your $3 worth then.
But Yes, for Yes, Rick Wakeman, he would always say you know why I wore the Wizard stuff? Because when we did the huge long instrumental, I had curry and I ate at my keyboard.
And also 20 minutes of any given Led Zeppelin show is him beating his guitar with a violin bow and then pointing at the audience.
He did that at the Firm.
I saw that with the Firm.
Remember that? They played.
In the 80s.
They played. Yeah, I saw Bonham's band. Obviously, Jason's opened up for him that show.
I saw the Firm in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oh, see, they played here. So, Bonham's band opened up for them.
And who opened up for them? I don't think they had any open. You know who opened up for the Firm in Cincinnati? An hour of Bugs Bunny cartoons on a massive screen. Oh my God! That's who opened up for the Firm. Yeah.
Which would be kind of fun.
You know what they should? Because remember, like back in the day, like when Elvis played or any of those guys, they played shorts. You might get a magic act. You might get like.
Yeah, they were variety shows.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It was like the vaudeville model, kind of. Yeah. They just kept that going.
This Hungarian man will spin plates for an hour before Deep Purple comes out. Look at that. He's been spinning plates for a solid hour.
The saber dance.
But that was like cool in the day. I'm still an old, show my age about ticket prices. I remember I go, Ma, so-and-so's coming to the War Memorial. Here's my paper route money. Yeah. And they cost and then they finally, my mom's like, well, you owe me $2. They went up to $12.95. Those cheap shit. Yeah. I remember it was Rush, Hold Your Fire, where I'm like, what a bunch of crooks. They're charging $17.
Change back on a 20.
And that was like one of the funniest shows ever, I remember, because they started really searching people. So you saw all these people running. That one, I got crushed at that show, too. I was, like, right up front. Getty was saying, like, back up, back up.
I was,
Good drugs? Oh, not that kind of crush.
I was introduced to the binocular liquor bottle at a show like that. Where you're...
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you take the lens off, and the whole binoculars is just full of booze. And you take the lens off, and dude's drinking out of his binoculars. I go, what's that?
I'll never forget my Uncle Hal. He was a gadget guy, and he loved all this kind of stuff. He was like Rodney Dangerfield from Caddyshack come to life. And he owned Clover Pool Supply, and what he did was, like, he took me in the basement. He goes, you got to see this. Okay, there's this oak table. It's all these chairs. You sit on it. There's a table here. He goes, watch. It's filled with booze. You just open the thing up and booze.
Oh, wow.
You love gadgets like that, though.
Clover's Pool out there on Route 18.
This was on Ridge.
Yeah. Oh, I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of Pettis.
It's Clover Home Leisure now.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Pettis Pools. Never mind. Sorry.
It was pools, and like my whole family worked there, except me, because I did something else. I didn't want to be like lugging concrete and stuff.
Right.
We knew you sold weed.
I do remember, like, I did grow it, and I told my mom years later, goes, I can't believe I watered that. You told me it was a Boston fern. I figured
it's a Jamaican fern, Mom.
Come on.
Then she started, you sure of that? And I said, no, it's a Boston fern. I used to decorate it with Christmas lights. Everything. I figure the statute of limitations a decade's over by now. But I would get those black light posters from Spencer's, and unfortunately I got a big marijuana leaf one. But some of those black light posters were cool. Like I had a Black Sabbath one.
Certainly, yeah, but made for a teenager's room.
What was like a teenager in the 70s was the black light posters, the lava lamps, the dirty magazines under the bed.
I was so proud of my black light when I got it from Spencer Gifts. I thought I was going to use it at my shows and stuff, and there was this little lamp. Who knows what the hell happened to it?
I had one of those things that had like playing card designs. You plugged it in, it spun, and put the designs on the wall.
Oh, that's cool.
Remember, like when you were a kid, getting kicked out of Spencer's Gifts.
I have a Batman projector watch. I just push the button. And
you're kidding me?
No.
Oh, wicked.
I have to replace the battery, but it's pretty cool. It's got like 8 different pictures in it.
Wild.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But that's another thing about remakes, though. Like, you just think we should just let everything lie, or do you think, like, some projects maybe you take and...
No, I'm really offended by some remakes. Not that it matters. Who cares?
Ghost Ship was good. I saw that.
I wish they didn't have to try and reboot Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
It's not a thing against the women cast. It's just that movie didn't need to be rebooted.
It just seems like a stretch when they come up with some of these things. It's like, do we really care about this scenario? Why would this even happen?
It says, number one, branding. They're just looking for something familiar. Number two, don't they have any new ideas?
I know.
Very few, it seems like. Everything, so much, not everything, but so much is a reboot of another idea.
And it's sad for me being a comic book guy. When I was a kid, if I would have heard they were doing all these movies, I'd be like. But now it's like I just go, it's boring. I can't. You know.
Well, I'm a little excited because DC had a big shift in their boss. So James Gunn is now one of the big guys at DC movies. So the DC movies should actually start getting better and more cohesive.
The movies, those movies are so incredibly dense with plot.
Yeah.
And so they're so long. So like I say, like in the movies they used to know exactly how much to feed your brain in a 90-minute or 2-hour. Now they try and put like they try and put like a series into 3 hours and make you sit in the theater for 3+ hours, and it's just, you know, it's weird that so they give you more product and you complain, but in this situation it's like first of all, it's impossible for me to sit for 3 hours and not have a potty break. Right. So you can't pause the movie if you're in a movie theater. So you're going to miss something.
Do you want to hear a horror story about that? Not me. It didn't happen to me. So, okay, one of my good friends, he's been on Zooms, Mike. We have these stories that, like, I guess at the theater one time, they found, like, during, like, one of those movies, people afterwards came in, they had to clean up pee because somebody peed in their seat because they didn't want to leave.
Oh, yes.
Was not I, so.
That's idiots. But, my complaint is, why are they making movies so long and dense?
You know what? What got me? The one that got me was, the Spider-Man 2. This is the one with Andrew Garfield. With Electro, and I actually got to a point, we were in the theater and we're going, at first it's like, yeah, this is good, then we're going, then all of a sudden, like, they're trying to find Electro's lairs, and we're going, look at it going, come on.
Another thing with the Marvel movies is that none of them are standalone movies. If you can't watch, if you don't know the plot of what's going on, and if you didn't watch 3 movies back, or what happened to Thor? Well, he's in this other dimension. It's just... and I've never, like, when that 89 Batman came out, and I was like, there had been no superhero movies, and I loved Batman.
I saw it 10 times.
I love that. It's in my collection.
It was a great movie.
Man, it was, this a plot simple enough to follow. It's just, first, Eric Burton's, view of Gotham was amazing to me.
Yeah, he was good in the animals too, Tim.
But I cannot track. I have not tracked with these modern superhero movies. That's just me. I have buddies who love them. Visually, they're stunning, but, and we go back to this reboot, if you're a movie maker and you made a movie 20 years ago but didn't have the technology to see your vision, so you had to make do with whatever they had at the time, and now with what they have today, you must want to go remake that movie.
But
now.
I love that though. In
that's
a way,
probably a good point though.
Think about
we can do it now.
Yeah. But think about like you, especially this like about the old Flash Gordons or something where they got the rocket ship on the
sparklers.
But isn't it kind of cool?
It's very cool because it's creative. Because guys had to make that stuff and build everything. And
do we have somebody who wants to join?
Yeah, it's like in music, all the technology that we have now, they're cranking out all this crappy music.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, they had very limited technology. Yep. Music was fabulous.
Oh, and I want to say something to that point, Andy, is I was playing a show recently with a band, and their laptops crashed, and they couldn't perform.
Right.
And I was like, well, I have everything I need. We'll do our set.
Yeah.
And that'll never happen to me. I mean, I'm a archaic dinosaur who don't use laptops. But
there is a downside to all that, because...
Somebody put something
I need
in my
pedals.
There's a guy just appeared on a show.
Yeah. Well, he's the all-important guru that makes it happen.
Yes, but that's like whenever he jumps in, it's a special show.
Yeah,
so. Speaking of this whole length of movie thing, and then I buy a lot of these director cuts just because I think it'd be cool to see what didn't show up in the film. And 9 times out of 10 on the commentary, the guy goes, well, I love this scene, but it slowed the movie down. Now, we're talking about 10 minutes, 15 minutes of something.
Yeah.
Not an hour, not 45 minutes. The original, that Superman 4, there's 45 minutes that didn't make it.
I'd like to see it, though. That part, I'd like to see those minutes.
Well, there was some stuff that you can see, like about like the Bizarro sort of creature that...
Yeah. That I've seen.
Yeah, and he was like the first nuclear man mistake. And so he becomes like this bizarro-ish thing. And there was a fight, and but like I bought the Daredevil with Ben Affleck.
Mm-hmm.
There's a director's cut. There's a courtroom scene where he actually is a lawyer, and it's like this slowed the movie down. It makes it a little more interesting to me.
No, like for me, I'll give like one of my biggest examples is the Big Red One with Lee Marvin. There's the director's edition. I would say
the what?
Big Red One. It's about
war movie.
It's a war movie with Lee Marvin. So it's like about hour 40, and actually it has Mark Hamill playing against type because he was in it before Empire Strikes Back. He plays a coward.
Yeah, early 70s, right?
Yeah, but there's a director's cut. It's almost 3 hours long, but what it does, I tell people, this is a rare instance. It takes a good movie and makes it great because it fleshes everything out, and you're not bored. You're like, it fills in. Like
I love that flick. The Dirty Dozen, the Big Red One, that era of World War II flicks. Is that am I right? The Dirty Dozen?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, those are my kind of movies. It's like I don't want to go like for super. I just want guys fighting. I want like some good humor, some good action.
Me and my brother used to watch those on Saturday afternoon, not understanding
Kelly's Heroes.
Yeah, Kelly's Heroes, not understanding how actually brutal and horrible war is.
No, that's my joke about Buck Privates from Abbott and Costello. It's a comedy. It's propaganda, obviously. Yeah. But like Buck Privates come home, they're all healthy. Nobody's made. Yeah. We're going home. Right. We're going home.
We're going to get some antibiotics for this thing in my crotch.
Nobody's missing. Nobody's dead. Everything else. But that's, it's propaganda and stuff.
Did you ever see Time of Our Lives?
Yeah.
Movie with Dana Andrews.
Yeah.
And they got the guy in the actual guy in there with the two hooks. And there's a big scene where he's getting himself dressed. And they just show this whole thing, how he's getting himself dressed with just having the two hooks.
Wow. Like he really is.
Yeah, it was the real deal.
Oh, okay.
But you do find out, like, you can learn, like, I actually finally found out what Benny and the Jets was actually about.
Benny and the Jets?
What is it
about? It's about snorting coke with a $100 bill.
Oh.
And that what cracks me up the best is Elton John's on the Muppet Show playing there. Yeah, Jets, take off. Benny. It's the 70s, the decadent 70s.
Yeah.
I don't think Elton ever did any drugs, but.
Wherever sold his art collection.
I'll say, so what would we do? What would it be called if you do it with a $1 bill?
Normal.
Let's see.
The end of the night.
A dollar in baking powder that you think is Coke. No, but I always I like the idea, like I was talking about Flash Gordon. It's got to be cool in a way to be creative, though. It's like, now I would love, like, it's a Deus Ex Machina of you could do whatever you want. Put in a good story.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they had to write better. Like,
don't just have like the big fireworks, because it gets boring after a while.
I've been watching, like you have. I've been watching a lot of those older George Reeves Supermans, right? And I'm starting to realize everybody goes, "Oh, they were for kids," blah blah blah. Those first couple seasons were not kids' stories.
No, those were like true crime.
Extortion.
Yeah.
Political.
The guy going around killing people in the town with the gas mask.
Yeah, I mean. Even the second season, I mean, a lot of gunplay, and I just think that they were written, they were kind of an aftermath of the radio series, and those stories were fairly about crime. They were about crime and criminals and gangsters, and that's why that show was successful, I think, because they didn't try to go too far out. They kept it. A day in the life of Clark Kent. He's at the paper. Something happens, and he's off. But so that made it more interesting to me. Now that I watched those,
but two other things I look for. There's that one guy who plays a hood in like 100. There's that one guy, that character actor, he's like a mobster. Yeah. And the other one was watching because George Reeves used to go have liquid lunches to try to spot him on the show when he was a tad pickled.
Yeah.
Some of the later episodes, you can see he's like fizzled out a little bit. It's like, golly gee, Mr. Kent.
Yeah.
It's like, shut up.
Listen, Jimmy, I usually stay put, Jimmy. I hate slurring.
And I love them because they're written like those were, like, and I said, I bless Noel Neal. I love Phyllis Coates, though.
Yeah, she was great.
Everything else, but I know time is a flying. You'll come back, obviously, John, right?
Me out, whenever you want, bro.
Yeah,
Except for when I can't.
You know
then
what?
we won't have you.
I think that's the first thing on this show that's made sense. But what's going on, like, down the line for the end of the year and everything?
Go shoot.
Well, how is record now? That's the thing too. There's like the Glory of Record Store Day.
Oh man!
And I heard if you got there really early, they were giving away. They had grappler masks hidden in the store.
they definitely probably do. But Greg has done that Black Friday event before too.
What, the Boris Karloff version or the one? Didn't they have
Yeah,
one
I missed it this year.
The Boris Karloff wrestling mask. Gotta make that one up. The Black Friday archive is always free. Well, that Greg will attest to that. That back lounge room is something magical, man.
You know what I said to every friend of mine who's played this? Go, okay, no matter what you do, okay, you could play to 500,000 people in Rio. When are you ever going to play on a stage with a T-Rex wearing oven mitts and a chandelier?
And, it makes quite a difference when you're playing in a bar where people happen to be wandering in to get a bite to eat or a drink versus some place where people specifically came to watch music and maybe have a drink or something, but they're there obviously to take in and enjoy your music, and it's palpable.
Yeah, that's what I like too, because I've used the term and I hate the term, but I don't like shows where I call it wallpaper music, where people are just there and because like, I'm here to hear the music, shut the hell up.
Right. A whole bunch of people who came to our show last night at Murph's who saw us there, and we've won a lot of fans over from their shows at Record Archive. And like I said, Greg has played there several times with Brian Lindsay. Brian Lindsay plays a lot of the same haunts I do.
Oh yeah.
And that's every town should have a place like that for bands to play, man.
Oh yeah.
And it's prestigious to be asked there because you know that they think your band's something worth being
and
there.
I've heard, and I've told this story before, I've had friends who moved away to quote-unquote big cities, and they're music people, and they'll get in touch with me, and they'll go, believe it, compared to, what we used to go see, back in the day when I could do it, I might be out, in this, 5 dates a week. Mm-hmm. Now, if I could do, one, it's a little, it's like, does the show end at 9?
I do
Where it was before, well, if the show starts at 1 a.m.
Right. The band starts at 11. Don't worry, they'll be done by 2 a.m.
Yeah, but it's a great place, and it's also I love one of my things now, and you played the Riviera, the ambiance. It's like a great place. Cool. It's just a great place, to see a show at Record Archive. If people would ask me where to see shows here, I'd go. That's one place you got to check out.
Jeremy Grace and Chuck Slavaggio are doing so amazing.
I keep in touch with them all the time
down there they're promoting their ass off, and I'm sure they're at sometimes, it's costing them money, but they are.
And they've said they'll be on the show again when they have time.
And they are steadfastly, they've also had some shows that filled that place up, and I'm sure they made them money.
I've seen because they're good friends of mine. I've seen this from the infant stage or whatever, the little acorn grow. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, they love music.
Yeah, man, they gave the JPP a chance to play a concert there, and what kind of draw do we have in Livingston County?
They still they won't take my idea to put the wrestling ring there yet, but let's give them time. Out back in the parking lot.
That would, imagine Hammerstein ballroom type vibe,
But no, that's a place the only thing I have to say against Atlanta, though, is I keep trying to buy that T-Rex from her. She won't sell it.
She better not.
Put it in the carnival.
She better not. I better be up there looking at me every time.
And what I love, supporting local indie stores and everything, is there's a love of music.
Oh, yeah.
Run into Dick, Storms, you can talk your ear off. Ask about Quicksilver Messenger service. Everything else.
Well, they're actually experts on the stuff. They're not just retailers, I mean, they do this because they really like the subject.
Or mine, the funny one last time I was there, I feel ashamed I didn't have it, but I found a copy of a CD of a Quick One by The Who, the only album I didn't have. Oh. So I go buy it before the show, and I go, I don't have any change. I need a tip for the band. I love you, but I ain't giving you a 20. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
No, but that's awesome. But we'll look for you guys coming up, and obviously, and you can maybe come back before the end of the year.
Sure, bro, man.
I don't know. We're going to be doing we're continuing over the winter. Sometimes, obviously, if we get Buffalo-like weather like we had, we're just going to have to, cancel the show in the morning because, unless the Masked Grappler is a huge... I know he's a master of many trades. Does he have a gargantuan plow? He can plow our way here?
Well, he just uses his dinner spoon, which is about the size of a plow because his mouth is immensely huge. And if he, it's like a soup spoon times 17, so he can just get his garden. But
you understand where we're doing this from, western upstate New York.
Yeah.
So, but we have a little extra treat today, and go listen to their music. Go listen. I think Greg did a drum solo on YouTube where he throws the thing, banging his head against the drums.
He has a great drum solo.
That explains a lot.
Somebody videoed Greg's drum solo from B-side a few shows ago, and it's really good. It's on Facebook, maybe?
Yeah, it's all there.
The only thing
Carla Coots, maybe?
How did you do the part where you threw the sticks up and Kentucky Fried Chicken,
he
got him back and caught him?
Caught them in his nostrils, came back down.
A lot of practice.
Don't try.
People don't pay me to practice that.
Don't try this at home doing something like that. But then we have a little thing. We have a good. So hopefully Roy Stein will be on the show. He's like, me and April will come on. Just get a hold of me. They're a little busy. We'll get him.
Yeah.
He's busy playing. But they have a band, Don Mancuso, a bunch of Lips Turn Blue. And I said, would one of you like this pick out the track from this?
Me? Sure. Let
me see. He's the guest. He is privileged, but you can argue amongst yourself.
Don Mancuso played on that last song of mine that was released.
You argue amongst yourselves. You could. Hello, la 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 la.
Pray for tomorrow.
After listening to this show, I guarantee everybody's going to be doing that. But thanks a lot, John, Greg.
Thank you, buddy.
No problem.
We'll see you again. We'll see you, obviously. Go Bengals, huh?
Go Bengals.